The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 3 preview picks and DFS episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, play their pick'em, fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you could enter in UFL, MLB, NHL, golf, NBA, and much, much more. Sign up today using the promo code TCE SGPN to get 100% deposit match, as well as a just get on over there. We're also brought to you by AVO, the premier arbitrage sports betting tool. That is AVO. Use their tool to bet both sides and lock in a profit. Access their platform for free at arbsversusodds.com. That's ARBS versus odds.com. Plus, in honor of Masters Week, the Golf Gambling Podcast guys are giving away a tailor-made Spider X putter for free. Enter at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/masters. That offer goes all the way through the Masters. So hop on in and get yourself a free putter. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
UFL. Yes, it is. Do I currently have a pulse? Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
UFL. Welcome to the UFL Gambling Podcast. Week 3 preview picks and DFS. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be. We can't even get our own goddamn music. All right. I'm working on it. I got a million things we're doing. Yeah, you got Juice. The Juice is dead. All right. OJ Simpson's passed away. He was a huge UFL fan, and wanted to be a part-time owner. Couldn't get in, but was very close to the Vegas Vipers team a year ago in the XFL. But here we are. We got week 3 upon us. The juice is loose. And I'm excited to talk about week 3 and to dominate. I have 6-1-1 ATS in the 8 games that have happened. So I just like to talk a lot of shit when I can. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Corbis Swinging Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
The way I feel about Dean Blandino. He's got to pay for it. I'm excited for week 3. I think the matchups for week 3 are better than week 2. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I am joined by the host of the Bottom Line Bob's podcast. They call him the man in the box, a.k.a. the Bet Detective. Give it up for the one and only CJ Sullivan.
Yes, what's up, fellas? Good to be back in the saddle. And absolutely, we got 3 games that are basically coin flips. So, and we only had one that was a tight line last week, and that turned out to be a needed 2.5 points as the miraculous comeback. I know we were grilled in the Reddit threads for not praising the comeback enough and calling it cheap and dirty from the rules, but
I didn't see that one, but I gotta check it out.
Well, you were taking most of the blows, so it's tough to pick it all up. And you can't, get it all focused on one because some were attacking you, some were attacking your burner accounts, some were attacking the business account.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Someone said
you get it from all angles.
Someone said that someone from St. Louis must have fucked my wife. Appreciate that one.
They're obviously
appreciate
not
that one.
Although they did go back and listen to all the shows, they obviously wouldn't listen to most shows. They would know if they listen to all the shows that you just hate domes that much that you're going to talk shit about your team until you get out of the fucking pussy dome.
It's true. It's true. And as far as I know, I don't think anyone from St. Louis fucked my wife, but I am doing the show right now.
Right. Your wife wouldn't go to St. Louis for crying.
Yeah, she wouldn't go to St. Louis. She doesn't even know where it is. She doesn't know where St. Louis is. We are joined by third man in the booth. He knows where St. Louis is. Right up the road.
Yeah,
he
right
is the
down
host
80.
of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which, by the way, it's coming next. And your boy Dundee is going to be on the Old Fashioned Football Podcast
Right after this.
Right after this, we're just content machines. Give it up for the host of that, Justin Mark, aka J Mark. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. My favorite Reddit comment this week is from, and I'm not making fun of their name. This is their actual name that they have associated with themselves. Butt Nozzle says 5.5 minutes of ads being mad about a great comeback while 2/3 weren't sure on last year's rule. Then getting mad about Reddit points or Reddit posts is a choice, I guess. And that's the choice we made. You're damn right it is.
Yeah. Doesn't he have a Battle Hawk in his avatar or something like that?
100%.
Typical Battle Hawk fan.
Yeah.
Doesn't even acknowledge that there was 2 leagues and that we were trying to figure out the rules for both because they're forming rules. We know the goddamn rules of the XFL, but only
I also know the rules of being a
themselves.
complete coward bitch. All right. And he applies for that. All right. So come see me on these streets in the Reddits. All right. Let's go.
Complain about ads is hilarious.
Complain about ads because we get paid to do this shit.
All right.
You know what I mean? It's like we might be the only UFL podcast that gets paid to do UFL content. Think about that for a second.
You could have ended after that gets paid. The only UFL podcast that gets paid. Maybe the only UFL gambling podcast. There's not a lot of them out there.
I'll be honest, judging by the Michigan Panthers turnout, I think we make more money than the Michigan Panthers.
And it's funny. It does feel like one of the only leagues that we're on the same level with. You know what I mean? So like when you talk about other sports, you're like, well, I don't know what those millionaires think, but these guys have real problems like us. That's why I love it. I love this league.
I mean, I do you guys feel the same that you think week 3's schedule is better than week 2's?
Of course. No, like I said before, you got 3 spreads that are with 2 and under, so,
J Mark, what do you think? Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't
know. I was done.
He's just like about a CJ.
Yeah.
I thought he was done. I thought he stopped.
I was wearying. I'm like, someone get me out of this. I can't even finish this thought.
No, there's a lot of intriguing matchups, and I think a lot of people are going to be on the wrong sides, including maybe Colby. We'll see. I'm going to beat him.
All right. I like
6-1-1. You're going up. What's your overall record in the 8 games, J Mark?
We don't need to talk about it. It's all about it's 0-0 this week. Let's go.
Like a politician.
Okay. Clean slate.
It is an election year. Bet Detective, I'm curious though. What are you on the 8 games? You're like me. You're somewhere close to me, I feel like.
Yep. I think it's 6-2. It's either 6-2 and 5-3. I have to check.
Well, we pushed on one, so you guys all have a push.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely. I might be 5-3-1. Last week I lost. The difference was we were on St. Louis and you were on Arlington, and you won that one.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, we had the same record. So
that's why the Battlehawks fans are coming for my wife. You know what I mean?
They're happy they got the dub.
They are, even though Tony Meatball did everything to try to lose that one. But yeah. All right. Well, look, let's hop into it. But before we hop into it, I want to tell the folks out there, look, you're listening to the UFL Gambling Podcast on SGPN, and in honors of Masters Week, get on over to the Golf Gambling Podcast and subscribe. Yes, the UFL is competing head to head with the Masters. I can dig it. As a guy that prefers football over any form of golf, but you might not be that way. You might have 2 screens up. All right. Check out the Golf Gambling Podcast, guys. They're giving away a tailor-made Spider X putter. Enter for free sportsgamblingpodcast.com/masters. You have until the end of the Masters to enter. So get on over there and check out the Golf Gambling Podcast. Remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
When I take the niece and nephew putt-putting, how cool am I going to look breaking that bad boy out?
Breaking out the tailor-made Spider.
Yeah.
You golf, J Mark? You don't strike me as a golf guy.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
talking about the putt-putt. He's talking about the putt-putt guy. The guy. Yeah, anyone
you know-
I would. Go ahead.
No, you know he built the putt in his backyard.
Right. He definitely built a windmill for sure. And it's a regular size, life size windmill that gives power to his tidal power.
Powers the house.
Yeah.
Game one, guys. How do you feel about the scheduling going right up against? I still would have liked a weekday game. They just don't buy into that though. They don't do weekday games, and I don't understand why. But here we are, 10 a.m. Pacific, DC, heading to Arlington, Texas, take on the winless Renegades. Arlington's now laying 1. Last night they were catching 1, I believe, on the maybe 1.5. The over under set at 43. Money line is to -110 on both sides. I'm all over Arlington here because I think Arlington's better than DC. I think DC's offensive line looks like a complete pile of shit. And Choctaw Stadium is going to be half empty, but it will be a little more packed than Ford Field. And I think Arlington is much better than 0-2. They just played Birmingham, and then the St. Louis game was a coin toss. If that receiver catches that, Perez hits him right in the numbers before that missed field goal, they win that game if that happens. So I think Arlington is just a lot better than DC right now. I'm laying the 1. I also like the over.
Yeah. This almost seems not, I wouldn't say obvious, but it's DC's got overinflated lines, obviously, from last year. This is a rematch of last year's XFL championship game, though. So it is a revenge spot for DC. They've been thinking about this all off season. Also, they're probably thinking about will they have a job, but they're also, now that they have a job, they're back and they're worried, and they're coming against Arlington. So they can't be happy about it. DC, of course, a far superior team last year, especially to Arlington. And Arlington luck boxed their way in there with the Luis Perez. Arlington, not lucky this year, had with two difficult games to open up the season with Birmingham, the best team, and then at St. Louis, the hardest road game there is in the league. So you're right; they're much better than 0-2 team. They could be pretty much everyone else in there, and they will get to prove it this week. Now they're catching 1. I agree with the line switch. The only thing that has me worried about that is that it is a revenge game from the championship, and there is something to that. Although you can't like the way DC's been playing. They were lucky to get out last week with a win. A game they should have smashed at Houston. So give me the over. Give me Arlington. I think Perez has a big day against this defense. Although we all know also if you pressure Perez.
That's what I was about to say. I think I'm switching to the under. At 43, give me the under.
Seriously, and we all know Greg Williams doesn't give a fuck if the game's on the line. He's still bringing the house, even though all you have to do is guard the goal line. That's just what Greg Williams does. So Perez will have pressure. So they do have the formula for that, but he didn't have pressure. The formula didn't work, obviously, in the championship game. I still like Arlington in this game. I'm still taking the over. I think they'll make them pay a lot more times, and they'll get there, and they'll look bad. But also they'll make them pay a lot more, and there'll be a lot of big play touchdowns for both sides. To be honest with you, I've liked DC's offense so far. Even that opener, they drove down. They just kicked a lot of field goals. They moved the ball, and they definitely moved the ball last week as well. They had to pick 6, and a lot of things they've shot themselves in the foot.
I got a 29-13 final. I think the under actually cashes. Going to the under here.
Yeah, but this seems like a great spot for Arlington to get their first win.
I'm with you. J Mark, what are you doing here at Choctaw Stadium there?
Yeah, I'm with you guys too. Just want to point out, I did see a tweet that was deleted very quickly, where somebody said, no, I won't say who it was from, but somebody in the industry that said DC has to travel to Arlington. Can they do the road game and win? They don't have to travel anywhere. They're in Arlington right now. So don't give me that shit. But I still like Arlington to win this game. I think they are the better team. DC has not looked like they've gotten it all together yet, especially like we talked about. They have a lot of roster turnover. I like the under as well. Both these teams very inefficient once they get inside the 20s. It seems like they have struggle scoring in the red zone. So I like the under just because of that. They can move the ball well. I don't think either of these defenses really contain the other team. I just don't think the offenses are efficient enough.
The scary thing is like a pick 6 or something, right?
Yeah.
Because both, with Greg Williams, I feel like they were close. They were close a couple times.
And with both of J Mark's favorite quarterbacks going head to head on there, the pick six is always in play with these two. The way they protect and take care of the ball.
Woo! Yeah. All right. So
that came on ESPN, by the way.
ESPN second game coming later though. This is not back to back. Later at 4 p.m. Pacific. And then Memphis Showboats are heading into Penetrobe Stadium to take on the Birmingham Stallions. Stallions are laying 7. Over-unders at 40.5. Memphis is plus 250 on that money line. DK, of course, the odds. And then minus 310 for the Stallions on the money line. They are honoring Alex McGough. Did you guys see this?
Yes, McGough will be in the house. The GOAT.
Tiring the old number. Tiring the old number is a bold move, but he did win 2 championships. 2 championships.
Now, what's this place called? Protective Stadium, right?
I call it Penetrobe Stadium.
I like Penetrobe. I love it.
Yeah. That's a office space shout out. Look,
you get tickets for $10 for this game.
So I'm saying, and then look, this Birmingham's this is their home opener.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting their rings. They're getting
at night.
What are you gonna do in Birmingham at night? All right. This is a smash spot. As much as I want to say Memphis, no. Like, we were talking about this on the SGP show, and I want your guys' take on this.
Yeah.
There's only a couple coaches that actually understand when you should go for it. Honestly, that's one of the things that's plaguing the league to me is like Anthony Beck. Last year was even worse, I think. But Anthony Beck, John DeFilippo, Mike Nolan, who else? Because I think Stoops actually goes for it when he's supposed to. But those 3 specifically, I think they don't understand when to go for it. They haven't been a head coach, I guess, long enough. Where I feel like Stoops and Holtz and what's my guy's name with throw Curtis Johnson in there too. They haven't been head coaches long enough where they just don't understand. To me, what to do in these leagues, especially when you add in the 9-point play and the 4th and 12 bullshit. I think that matters in a game like this where the spread's -7. I'm on the Stallions -7. I do think the over hits though. I think the Stallions, you look back at that game a week ago, Michigan, credit to them staying in that game because their red zone defense was so impressive. Here, Stallions will be able to get what they want. They're going to be able to correct. Skip Holtz was talking about it in the post game. He was upset about the red zone offense. It gets corrected here. They take down the Showboats. I like laying the 7. I like over 40.5. Sullivan, what are you doing here?
Just so piggyback what you were saying there about the 4th down and going for it. It's funny. A lot of young coaches, they don't go for it on 4th down because they don't want to get fired. And that's really the only way not that you get fired, but to get public reaction to, like, that's the only thing they understand more. Like, oh, you should have went for it there. You didn't go for it there. So you go for it and miss it. They're like, that's when they get the public heat from it, saying, oh, well, so if they just avoid that, just avoid any kind of risk. They're like they don't know the other ways I'm fucking up. They just know that I'm not going for it 4th or
even Michigan was like telling the kicker, do you want to kick this?
Right.
Do you want this? If not, we could punt.
But as far as this game goes, like I think you said, at night, home opener, Birmingham, best team in the league. Alex McCoy in the house. They're retiring the number. And I'm not a fan of this Memphis team. You guys all cacawed, if you will, when I put them at 7 in my power rankings. I think Cook is going to get destroyed in this game. I mean, he is their offense. He leads UFL in total offense because he rushes, he throws, he does everything for him. Memphis also has the best rush defense, but I think that's just because a lot of teams aren't able to run the ball. That's not the case with Birmingham, of course, with my man CJ. Marable. And I think he'll have a nice big game. I'll foreshadow. He's always perennially in my DFS lineup. I love the receivers, even though Deion Kane's been the guy. Amir Rogers hasn't done much, but Kevin Austin. I think this, like you said, is a smash spot. I think they're going to blow this team out. I think they're going to win by more than double digits.
Well, they had like a 44-2 win a year ago.
Yeah,
J-Mark,
I mean,
something
I
like
think,
that.
I think it's gonna be something similar to that. I think it's gonna be something like 34-6, that kind of situation.
I think it'll be like 20, 29, 16 or something like that. But
I don't
they're
see
gonna
how
get it
Memphis.
done.
Yeah, I just don't see how Memphis puts up points at all.
It might even get in the 30s. You like the over too, CJ?
Well, that's the thing. I don't see Memphis scoring a lot. What is the total here? 41. It's pretty high. But
I see 40.5 out there.
40.5. Yeah, I'd lean under if I was going to play the total, to be honest with you, because I do think Memphis' defense is good. I'm not saying they don't have a good defense. Birmingham, they're going to set their number, but they're absolutely efficient. I don't trust Memphis to. They'd have to get to at least 10 points for us to hit that, and I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah. J-Mark, what are you doing here? I got a feeling he might zag here. What's he doing here? J-Mark, what are you doing in Birmingham at Penetrobe?
June 17th, the Stallions beat the Showboats 27-20 with Cole Kelly as the Showboats quarterback. Mace Cook has a much better quarterback than Cole Kelly. This team is improved. I think they're going to give them trouble. I think Panthers.
I think you said that incorrectly, though. The Showboats beat the Stallions, not the Stallions beat the Showboats.
Stallions beat the Showboats by 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
By 7. And now the Showboats have a better quarterback. This defense is playing really well. And I think the Panthers showed how you can kind of contain this Stallions offense, right? We saw them get kind of contained. I also don't know if this whole 2 quarterback system is working out very well. Corral, I know he had some nice numbers, but he also, a lot of times he got in there, he looked like he was off pace just a little bit, like he couldn't quite get going. Martinez, great at running the ball. I get that. But it just seems like that's holding them back a little bit. I'm taking the Showboats. I don't think they win this game, but I think they keep it within 7. I think it's probably a 4 or 5 point win.
Well, here's the thing with taking 7 in these leagues where you go for 2 and 3 points. 7 doesn't mean what it means in the NFL or college football. So I think sometimes that can be confusing. I'm not saying you're doing it here, J-Mark, but I'm saying for me, it's like, I'm like, oh, and then you look and it's like hardly ever does a team just win by 7. You know what I mean? Like that, it just, the numbers are a little bit more wacky. You like the over or the under, J-Mark?
I like the under as well. Both defenses are very good. I think it's going to be a grinded out type of game.
I'm on the over. They're on the under. Me and the bet detective are on the Stallions. J-Mark's hopping in that Showboat going down the old Mississippi River. All right, folks, before we get to the next 2 games on Sunday, I want to tell you that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. And they added UFL late last week. J-Mark, have they I haven't had a chance yet. Have they put up next week's stuff?
I haven't looked either, but I imagine they're going to have it.
I feel like it's closer to the games. They'll put up the stuff, but that is awesome that you can now get on over there and check out UFL, stats essentially, and take the higher or lower on stat totals. That's how Underdog Fantasy works. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. The more players you add, obviously, the higher the odds go up. Sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Once again, visit UnderdogFantasy.com. Find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with the promo code TCESGPN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. All right. Yeah, I think that's great that we got that stuff. Shout out to Frank Matthews. Love y'all's podcast. Best sports gambling guys in the game. Appreciate you, Frank. And we're grateful for you, brother.
Yes, sir. No UFL in the Underdog just yet, but it is coming soon.
Yeah, they put it out I feel like Thursday night, Friday morning. So get on over there, check that out, and you can find stuff that you can't find elsewhere. That's I know we get paid by a bunch of other sponsors, but I feel like Underdog Fantasy is just, I really use it frequently. So I buy into that product. Sunday's action. We got the interesting game here because Reed Sinnott was looking fire, and the Houston Roughnecks obviously went out and signed old Houston gambler himself, Kenji Bahar. They are heading to Ford Field. Michigan just never leaves Ford Field. It's a shame because no one ever goes, so we're just forced to watch this fan misery in Michigan. But the Panthers are laying 2. They're a favorite. Seems like they're listening to us, J Mark, on them being favorites. Total is the lowest of the whole weekend, 38 points. Houston's plus 125 on the money line. Panthers are minus 150. I'm on Michigan -2, but this is the type of game they do lose to me. But I think they're going to get it done because they're in the dome and them kicking the field goals. But I'll be honest, am I crazy to think Houston's defense is actually decent? I think it's decent.
Yeah.
I think it might be one of the better defenses in the league. Reuben Foster is he's a fucking freight train. He's like Night Train Lane back there. That will in a game like this. I compared this on the SGP show to when Rex Ryan was the coach of the Jets with Sanchez. The Michigan Panthers are like the spring league version of that, where they have an elite defense, good special teams. But if you throw the ball 34 times with old EJ Perry, you will probably lose the game. So they need to not think that he's the next fucking Broadway Joe. All right. And I think they do win the game, but I think it's going to be an ugly one. I do love the under 38. I think this is give me a 15 to 12 final score. This is the game though that I like. If I had to mark the games I want to watch most, this is interesting just because I honestly think it's going to come down to the final 5 minutes of the game. Even though I think Houston's ass, I just think their defense will keep them in the game. Reuben Foster could make turnovers. Michigan wins the game though, because that's what the second rated power team does. They find a way to win the game as long as it's not the Stallions. I love the under though. The under is a fucking goldmine here. Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it was that high at 38.5. I would have put this around 36 or so like that. It seems like a typical rock fight. Houston's defense is better than we thought. I mean, they, like I said, I was actually impressed with the way DC could move the ball, and they kind of shut them down after that.
And remember what Houston did to the Memphis ground attack in week 1. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Michigan might try to run the ball, and they're not going to, they're just going to have to be. Mike Nolan's going to have to use patience. You get those returns where you're 9 yards or 12 yards away from field goal range. Another 60-yarder. Just pound the rock. Do some option read stuff. What's up, Kenji Bahar?
Kenji Barber was signed this week.
Bahar.
I
like
I swear he fucking purposely does that.
Babar, BABAR. Shout out to the doctor from Fletch who passed away this week before OJ. He was the guy who died. Anyway,
love Fletch.
Love Fletch. Remember the doctor? No, that's a strange name, Mr. Babar. He passed away. Anyway, Toby Johnson. I can pronounce that name correctly. Two-time
Georgia
USFL.
Bulldog.
Yeah, he's part of that big defense.
Been on the show before.
Yes, fan of the program. They also have Adam Rodriguez from Weber State, D-back out there. That defense is stellar. That's why the under does look like the best play on this side. I like that Jets comparison, even though it's the third time you name dropped being on the main show. J Mark, have you heard that? By the way, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I got to side with Michigan here, though, at home. I mean, I think they're better. I like this Michigan team. They've surprised me. You're right. It's going to be a tight game no matter what. They're not going to blow you out, but they're not going to get blown out. And I think they're good. I mean, I think that for opening win wasn't a fluke. I mean, yes, they got outplayed last week, but they had a chance to win that game against the best team in the league. And there's their third consecutive home game. Is that what's going on here with that?
Yeah.
Houston, and Houston had a tough game in the USC. So I don't like going against 0-2 teams though, going for especially in a game that they can win. I'm sure they have this circled as like, okay, this is a game we can get, I'm actually talking myself into Houston as I say that out loud, but that's not enough. That's not enough to make me switch. Now drunken Irishman might have just talked me into by saying EJ Perry's going to get it done if that's what I'm relying on. Because
let me tell you something. He can't have. I couldn't believe they threw the ball 33 times with him. 34 passes by that team. 33 with him. What are you doing, folks?
He was skipping some of those passes like those were the rules. Like he's allowed to do that. like because
there was only one hop. We're doing one hop, right?
We're playing one hop ball, right? No. I don't know what rule book you were given, but no, you have to get it to him in the air, sir.
Well, and to me, they're stupid. Like,
yeah.
If they just did option read and potential play action to the tight end Hicatini out of that, it will at least just make it friendly for him. I feel like that would he can't have more than to me. Like if he throws over 24 passes, watch out because I'm starting to think the more I'm thinking about this, the more I'm looking Houston. Just grabbing the 2 is just a safe spot anyway to get that first win. But dude, Michigan's defense is gonna their red zone defense is incredible.
I love Michigan. I mean, we love Michigan's defense. Those are ballers. That's what you're betting on. When you're betting on Michigan, you're taking Michigan's defense. You're not betting on EJ Perry. I'll stick with Michigan. I'm not going to flip flop and
under all day.
Under is the main play. If I got to do a side, gun to my head, which I do, which always it's a gun to my own head, I'll take Michigan right there. Before every Michigan Panther game, I always put a gun to my head. On ABC. Why does ABC why do they put this game on ABC? And I know the Birmingham game's on Fox at night, but I don't know. I'd rather have the DC Arlington game on ABC and then switch this over to ESPN or something like that. I don't know.
I don't think they know what they're doing, but
good point.
J Mark, what are you doing here? The old Ford Field shit.
Agree with you that the under is the play. Did you guys catch that sideline interview with EJ Perry where they asked him about one of those skip balls, but they kind of like, you were under pressure and it looks like he kind of threw it in the ground to avoid a turnover. And he kind of stalled and he's just like, yeah, no, that was just
what I do.
Throw.
Yeah, that's just bad toss.
That's what I do. If you watch my practices, I throw those worm burners.
I like EJ Perry. He's just limited in the towns.
Somebody needs to tell him, like, just answer yes. Just be like, yeah, that was the only way to avoid the sack. Don't say no, it's just a bad throw. Come on, man.
Clear. No pressure at all. Clear path. I saw the whole thing. My arm just doesn't work sometimes.
Well, here's the thing I find a little puzzling is, okay, I know Danny Etling came in and threw a pass, but didn't Lewerke play for the Patriots a little bit? Am I crazy? Or maybe I'm thinking of Hoyer. Maybe I'm thinking of Hoyer more. Because they have Lewerke on the team that was in the NFL for a few years there. I guess he never got actually any reps. Why did I think he got reps in a game in the NFL? He didn't. So maybe I'm just full of shit.
But I'm taking the under and I'm taking the Panthers. I know our buddy Coach K, he said he was all over Houston. Reed Sinnett gave them a lift, but you see it at every level of football, right? College, UFL, NFL, CFL, where the backup comes in, he gives them that lift, and then the next week he's flat because they've seen him. They're prepared for him. And that's what's going to happen here. Panthers are going to be ready for him. And I think they might win this game off on a 65-yard field goal this time and win by 3.
What I mean, can we build a scenario of Michigan blowing them out just like 17-3 or something?
I think I said in the Discord, I said 13-3 was my prediction on this game. I don't know if I like them scoring a touchdown there. So let's say 12-3, just all field goals.
No, I think Houston will get a couple scores, but if I'm building a model in my head of how they blow them out, I don't think I'd be shocked if Michigan got in the 30s. Would you like that? That would be to me sure. Like that would be they'd have to have a kick return for a touchdown and a pick 6 or something. Yeah. But I do still think you lay it with Michigan. I think Houston will score like 12 or 9 or something like that. But Michigan covers. Let's go. All right. Final game on the Sunday slate or the week 3 slate. Excuse me. I thought this was the hardest game. St. Louis Battlehawks are heading to the house that Johnny Dawkins built. Cadillac Anderson built. Remember David Robinson used to have those rolled up socks, CJ? We should one of those coming back. They're heading to the Alamo Dome to take on the San Antonio Brahmas. Get this Brahma bullshit out of here. By the way, look, the over is at 42. Brahmas are plus 102 on the money line. Home dog. Look, I don't think the Brahmas are any good. I think they're a phony 2-0. Come at me, Reddit. Whoever the fuck you are out there, I haven't even checked. I've been busy with my life. All right. But I don't know who the fuck you are. All right. But
are you talking to Reddit himself, Mr. Reddit?
Yeah, Mr. Reddit. Mr. Reddit over there. Yeah. But I don't think San Antonio is that good. I think the DC game is misleading. Now, credit to them. They were, in my opinion, the better team that day. So they shouldn't be 0-2. But I also think a little trick play, some lucky fumbles, not fumbles as in he actually fumbled on the field, but like blunders by the defenders. I think the Battlehawks are a more talented team. And I also think that Durant kid at a Duke, who I was a big fan of in college, he's gonna. I'm starting to buy in a little bit on Tony Meatball. A little bit terrified because I will say this: Wade Phillips somewhat has the 4th down conversion thing more figured out than Tony Meatball. If it's 4th and inches, I feel like he's more willing to take a shot on it. Maybe that's AJ Smith, but I'm taking the Battlehawks -1. By the way, this is an over. This they're scoring in the 50s or 60s here. Battlehawks -1. I am sick of this San Antonio go down into the fucking Riverwalk bullshit.
Wow.
This is nonsense. This is look. They should have lost last week. They got dominated. I would argue with that with Mr. Reddit all day. When you have 8 yards at halftime, when you have 27 after the end of the 3rd quarter, you should never fucking win the game. All right. Anyway. Bat Detective, what are you doing here?
Sounds like Reddit got to you too, because they mentioned one thing about your wife in St. Louis, and now you're riding the Battlehawks. Yeah. Listen to you.
I wonder. I haven't been over there to check. God knows what they're saying about San Antonio and her.
Yeah, right.
All right?
That's true. And as Charles Barkley pointed out, the ugly women down in San Antonio in the Riverwalk down there. Yeah, Wade Phillips has got the 4th down thing figured out because they've unplugged his headset. It's not plugged. I mean, no one's listening to him.
He's listening to his dad. He's listening to his dad.
Son of a bum. Yeah, he's channeling his dad. And he is blessed though. He's just this blessed grandfather. Like they keep winning somehow. He doesn't know. They tell him we won. What happened?
We won the game. We won.
Oh, all right. Way to go. Let's all go to Golden Corral. Anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm way down the San Antonio team. I wanted to rank them below Memphis, but I just couldn't do it because of the record of their power rankings. And you're getting a juiced up line as you ever can with San Antonio, with them being 2-0. I know people are happy about the CLV with the futures, but I think the Battlehawks, after having a huge comeback, great tough contest, back and forth affair with Arlington, I think they might have a pretty easy time with this. And the only thing is the Wade Phillips magic. I like St. Louis a lot in this game.
And Wade Phillips, he was asked about his team, and this is what he said.
And you know what? I'm jacked about another opportunity. I'm like, let's go. Now, I met with the team. There is no team.
He had a speech for his whole team and everything, but there is no team.
The wrong locker.
J Mark, what are you doing here in old San Antonio, Texas? You're on mute. CJ, did you say over or under? By the way,
he's back, J-Mark. Well, I never even thought about it, but any St. Louis game I'm playing, I'm leaning over anyway. They put up points and they give up points. San Antonio, now even though they did have a tough time, but we said that Memphis defense is good. So yeah, well, I'll definitely be on the over for this one for 42.
J-Mark, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm 0-2 taking the Battlehawks, and their defense sucks. And I think AJ Smith is going to be able to take advantage of that. I think Chase Garbers and Jontre Kirkland, Cody Latimer, all going to have big days. So I'm all over the Brahmas. I know that Surprises is the one that's usually pulling for the Battle Hawks. I just can't keep taking them until they prove it differently. So, yeah, I'm on the Brahmas here and the over.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
Yeah, they do have great They do have 3 receivers who have huge numbers last week, but I think a lot of that's skewed from the comeback situation they were in and getting that conversion. You know, it all happened within the last 3 minutes, obviously, or 5 minutes of the game. But you're right. They should have a feast on St. Louis's defense at the very least.
Battlehawks, don't worry, they're doing it. AJ McCarron's turned down the starting quarterback position for the Kansas City Chiefs. They were gonna have him. He was gonna beat out Mahomes in camp. Decided it now.
Poor locker room.
I'll go to the other team in Missouri.
Absolutely better locker room conditions. I bet there.
Folks, that is our picks episode. But we got the DFS side of this right now. But before we do that, I want you to know that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by AVO, the premier sports betting arbitrage tool. If you're new to arbitrage sports betting, it's very simple. Basically betting both sides of a bet at 2 different sports books to lock in some profit. The AVO tool scans sports books looking for discrepancies in the odds and then tells you how much money you need to place with each sports book to expect a profit. The tool is super easy to use and lightning fast, as speed is obviously such a big part of arbitrage sports betting. The best part is AVO is completely free to use without restrictions. That's right, folks. And it's completely free. Get started today at arbsversusodds.com. That's arbsversusodds.com. All right, we are back, and I'm going to kick your fucking ass in DFS this year.
Do we want to do lock and dog first?
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Damn it. I've been licking my chops to talk shit about this DFS stuff because I did bring home a cool 16 or 1550 or something last week.
Nice, sure.
You know, whatever it was, I felt great about it. Sorry, I forgot about the old lock and dog thing. The lock for me, look no further than the Arlington Renegades. Actually, well, they were my dog last night, but now that they're a favorite, I'm kind of fucked because I don't have a dog. I'll give away a parlay. Chalk City over here, but they were a dog last night. But
a little ankle biter.
Arlington's the one I feel best about. I think they're gonna beat DC's ass. Lock it up. And I don't have a dog, so I'll just give you a parlay. How about that? I like. How about a totals parlay? Under 38 with Michigan, Houston. Over 42 with St. Louis and San Antonio. And I like the over in Memphis, Birmingham, 40.5. I think you parlay those 3. See you in victory lane. All right. Bet Detective, what do you got?
My lock is Birmingham. They smashed Memphis that night, Saturday night. My lay to 7. I don't really have a dog myself, although I wouldn't mind throwing Houston out there as my dog now that all the talk. But I'm not. I'm sticking with EJ Perry, Michigan. I'll also parlay some totals. I'll parlay that over St. Louis, San Antonio with you at 42, but I'll parlay that with Arlington and DC 43.5. I think that's a nice easy over to start the weekend off right.
Oh, you only did 2?
You want me to throw a third in there? Oh, you want me to lock? I mean, for God's sakes, everyone's on that Michigan under 38.5. And I mean, it's impossible.
I don't get.
I'm sorry.
That's a free square. But yeah, you can do a 3-teamer if you want to throw it in there. I don't like that. I do not like the total in the Memphis Birmingham game. I'll stay away from that one.
J Mark, what are you doing here? Lock and dog wise.
I'm gonna lock the Panthers to get it done. They're going to win by a field goal. It's going to be a gross game. They win by a great
lock. Look, I know one thing I know.
Lock it up. They're going to win. They're they're -2. They'll win by 3. Lock it up.
Yep. It's a guaranteed thing to happen, though. I mean, come on.
Especially
Yeah.
in the dome. I want to see this kicker when he goes outdoors. But do they play a road game this year? Do they
J-Mark-
play a fucking road game?
J-Mark is right. A lock doesn't have to be a blowout. It just has to be something that's going to happen.
Yep.
Lock that in. Yeah.
And then my dog is the Brahmas. I think the Battlehawks defense are a bunch of frauds, and they got to prove it to me otherwise until I will back them again.
And he's the Battlehawk guy. He's
I
already.
was going to say that sounds personal, almost a reverse jinx.
If
play,
you
but
pan the
whatever.
camera to the left, he's got a map of the United States up on, and he's got pinpointed the route to St. Louis for him to catch a game.
With a picture of AJ McCarron up there.
and his kids. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm really excited about this DFS lineup because I brought home cash. I know Bet Detective hit for some solid money week 1, but I brought home $15.50.
Nice.
Right? Don't forget about the 50 cents. I threw that in there.
Never forget about 50
Went
cents.
to a bagel spot this morning, needed 50 cents to put in the meter. Boom.
Was that on a $15 entry?
No, that was on like a $5 entry. So I guess
$30 entry.
I guess I made
lost half the dough.
$10.50, but it felt good as I was getting my bagel. I was waiting, looking at my car out there, and I was like,
Western Bagel. Where were you?
Yeah, on Wilshire, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm just sitting there, thinking that's UFL money. It's UFL money right there. My car is sitting there. That UFL money. All right.
You only needed 25 cents in the meter, but you know what? Take 50 cents, City of Los Angeles.
Have an extra quarter.
Yeah.
Told him to follow my picks. All right.
If you would have played Marcel Aitman, like I said, you could have parked in the garage.
That's true. Anyway, we all got dreams, right? Quarterback wise, I found this a bit insulting to me. The OK Corral, Matt Corral, is only 9,900. It's been insulting to me. I think they were playing the best defense in the league last week, and that's why they had a little bit of struggles. They're going to pour it on. I'm on the over for this game. Not buying into your under bullshit you guys are trying to sell me, right? And the Golden Corral. Look, I've been to the great state of Alabama. The Golden Corral is everywhere in the great state of Alabama. All right, let me tell you. They're going to have some of that. And the UFL paychecks aren't great. But after they win, I do sense a little party at the Golden Corral with old Matt Corral, 9,900. Get on over there. I know you guys are on the under, so you're definitely not taking them, but you're fucking up here, guys. CJ, what are you doing at the quarterback spot?
I mean, I like Corral. The reason why I wouldn't pay 9,900 for him is just one, they do a 2 quarterback system, as J Mark was saying, and it seems like they don't have it figured out. What did he throw for 40 yards last week, Corral? I mean, like Adrian Martinez we seem to get the bulk of it, which is weird because in week 1, Corral looked good once he got it going.
They knew they were playing Michigan. You got to run more. You got to run the QB more.
Fair enough. Here's some value. I'm going to go with the XFL MVP of the championship game in the rematch. We're going with Luis Perez at home in that game versus that DC defense that gives up big plays. It'll be a lot of turnovers, but also a lot of big plays at 8,500. I think Perez, who had a big game versus St. Louis versus bad defense, but he looked good.
And that deep ball should have been caught for a touchdown. I know YouTube taught him how to throw that deep ball too.
YouTube taught him how to throw the ball. YouTube taught him progressions. He checked good. He, third and longs. He made some big conversions and he made some big time throws. And we all know
he was calling the plays. It was like football in the 60s and 70s. Like when your quarterback had to call the play.
Yeah.
Like this style. Oh yeah. You don't need an offensive coordinator. The fuck's he here for? He just collected a check. Get him out of here.
So this is the highest total of the weekend, 43.5. I like the over in it anyway. So I want a piece of this, piece of any of this game offensive wise. And I'll start right off with Luis Perez.
Their OC's Chuck Long. So
Woo, Piggly Wiggly in Iowa told X went to go to hell.
J Mark, do they still idolize Chuck Long in Iowa, or is that passed over? I feel like they do with Iowa's offense. How bad it's been over the past 15 years.
Chuck
Long's still a fucking god in Iowa.
Truth.
Yeah. What are you doing here at the quarterback spot, J Mark?
Surprisingly, I considered Perez, so I like that, CJ. But I went with the guy that leads the league in touchdown passes, and he's third in yards, Chase Garbers. I think he's going to have a really good day against that St. Louis team and that defense that just can't seem to slow the pass down. So, yeah, I got Garbers. He's expensive, 10,400, but I think it's worth it.
Well, I'll stay in that game with my highest price running back, Maceo Durant. Look, I loved this kid when he was at Duke. It's not often that, I'll put it like this. My brother is a Duke fan in basketball and football. So I watch my whole life. I've watched way too much Duke football.
Yeah.
Right. And they hardly ever have like offensive playmakers. You know, every once in a while you have like a decent linebacker or safety, maybe an offensive tackle or something. But you never really got guys that just pop off screen. Maceo Durant, when he was at Duke, I was like, who the fuck is that? Right. And I was surprised that they didn't run him as well. Like I know he got injured last year, but I thought in the first couple of weeks he played, but they only gave him like a carry or two. And I'm like, this guy's he's got talent. Get him on the field. 7,300 Maceo Durant against San Antonio. We know Wade Phillips, he ain't coaching defense anymore. He thinks he's coaching defense, but he's not calling the plays. There's no team there. Give me that 7,300 on Maceo Durant. Bet Detective, what are you doing at the running back spot?
Well, until further notice, I'm going to ride CJ Marable until the wheels come off. He's my Abram Smith of this year. I think they're the number one team. He's going to run ball, and then no matter what, even in his bad games, he's getting the carries. He's going to have the opportunities just to score. So, I know they do a 2-man team there, but you have to in football. So he's the guy. CJ Marable. I mean, until further notice, he will be my RB1 all year. And I know, like I said earlier during the matchup prediction, Memphis does have the best rush defense in the league, but I think a lot of that was matchup wise. It's only 2 games into it. It's gonna be a party there in Birmingham. So I think they also run the clock out second half of this game as Memphis won't be able to score. It'll protect their lead, and I expect a nice 80 yards and a touchdown out of CJ.
I like it. J Mark, what are you doing at the running back spot?
I completely forgot to say we have a reoccurring DFS contest on DraftKings that CJ, I don't know your name, but I know the Damp Basement was in there the first week, and then he was too scared to get in there the second week when I won it.
I didn't see it when I answered. I think you got put it up late.
I'm not the one put it up, so I don't know how it got there.
My brother puts it up.
Where's it at?
Put it up late. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link. The Bet Detective's jumping in there. Not afraid of nothing.
I also have Durant. I liked how he looked last week. He had, 14 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. They're going to need that, I think. They're going to need to try to slow the pace of the game a little bit. So, yeah, I like Durant. And he's cheap. He's only 7,300 right now.
I like it. And look, I went back to the 3 running backs because they brought me home $15.50. There's more gold in them there hills. I'll talk about my other 2 running backs in a minute as they're my flex, but my wideout, my top wideout, I'm going with, I had 8 men on my team actually last week. I know we just said that for comedic relief earlier, but I did have him on my team, and he was fire last week, and he'll be fire again this week. We're on the over in that game. 7,200. Load up on Marcel Aitman because I think he's their top dog. And I don't have any faith in San Antonio's defense. Let's go. Battlehawks offense. Kaka. Let's go. Bet Detective, I'm assuming you have him on your roster.
Well, I've had him both weeks. Week 1, he was around the 5,000 range, and then he bumped up a little bit. And I said, well, this is the last time he's going to be priced like this. And I was correct as he's gone up in value. So now I think I'm going to buy the dip in Shepard, who did have 12 targets. 9 receptions last week for 82 yards in that shootout with 12 targets. Now, Marcel Aitman, who had a big game, obviously 2 touchdowns, 2 of them were long bombs. He only had 4 catches, 114 yards, which was beautiful, great production, but you can rely more on Shepard for volume. And if you're getting him at 7,500, he's come crashing down as Aitman comes up. I think the value is on Darius Shepard at 7,500. That's what I'm going with. Well, whatever. That's it. That's done my commentary.
J-Mark, where you go with your top wideout?
Yeah, I like your guys' both your points. I wrestled between those two because of the targets that Shepard's getting, but the big plays that Aitman's getting. It's hard to fade him right now since he is still just 7,200. That still seems relatively cheap to me, especially when you look at guys like Kirkland that are at that 9,800 spot. So I have Aitman in mind.
Let's go. Play about time. About time we play some music. You guys didn't see me make 1550 and just said we should tail some of Dundee's picks. Technically 1050, but well, look, my second wideout. I like I said, they're on a limited budget in these spring leagues. So if it's not the Golden Corral in Birmingham, as a guy that's been shit hammered a good amount of times in Alabama and Louisiana. Well, it's going to be Raising Cane's chicken and Deion Kane. Give me some of that, because Deion Kane, 6,400. You know, he's explosive, probably the most explosive guy in their offense, really. So I'm loading up. I don't think this showboat team, Carnell Lake, if he does that Dick LeBeau shit, which he does, good defense, but they showed some weakness late in that fourth quarter against the pass. Deep ball is always open.
Yeah.
Deep ball is always open. Let's go. Deion Kane, 6,400. Bet Detective, what are you doing here?
Well, Deion Kane, another one I threw on there week one. As we saw, he became the man of the championship week. I'm proud. I'm proud of my guys, my big winning guys. I'll just say that. Aitmans, Canes, and everyone. I'm glad they're getting their money, their DFS money. But a guy I had last week who had a nice game. I had a huge Saturday in my DFS lineup. Didn't come through on Sunday. But the receiver, DeAndre Davis, he had 6 for 58 and a touchdown last week with 9 targets. He's basically their only, let's say their only receiving. Jonathan Adams is also good. He has those more athletic catches. It seemed like
Vinny Papali.
And of course, he got Vinny Papali of Delaware. Delaware. But Davis is their main man. He's a pure volume. Adams makes the athletic catches. Papali does the interviews. But give me Davis here, and he is a relatively cheap, even 7,000 for a guy who's the number one receiver. And anytime you're playing someone like Birmingham, you're going to be catching up. You're going to be from behind, and you're going to be throwing the ball a lot. So game script, volume, number one, 7,000. I expect him to put up another game just like this with the double-digit targets, a bunch of catches, maybe 70 yards, whatever. Hopefully, gets in the end zone.
Team speed, for Christ's sake.
Sorry, J Mark, where are you going with your second wideout?
Real quick, shout out to the chat. What's up, FBI Tugboat and Channing Brown? Where do you guys play this? I play mine on DraftKings. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, DK, but also Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah,
but
we are. Yeah, right now the prices we're using are DraftKings. We're doing, and shout out to Channing Brown, by the way, who's been with us all day in the chat room, part of the C Block. He was there for Bottom Line Bombs. He was there for the college experience Bombs Down Under with me in Dundee. Now he's here for the UFL, and I'm sure he'll be at Old Fashioned Football after this for all four.
Let's go.
For all four in the chat for the king of Nova Scotia, Channing Brown. But yeah, we get this from DraftKings.
These other people.
You disloyal fool ass bitch made.
Yeah, I mean,
DraftKings Kirkland, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. You love this Kirkland kid. You know, you love rostering him.
He fits well in that offense. Now, last week it was Latimer that got more of that, but yeah,
you can't go wrong with all three of those guys there, J Mark, especially against that awful defense. Stevenson, Latimer, or Kirkland. I like Kirkland though for you.
Yep, for sure.
I ate shit on this guy last week. I would have won a lot of money if I had not played Anthony McFarland.
He did.
This is the risk of this cha-cha-cha air raid bullshit. Is like you have a extreme talent and you barely give him the rock.
You know,
he needs to demand a trade. Give me a Luis Perez bullshit trade for a backup special teamer that has one tackle. Get off that team. Go to Birmingham. But Anthony McFarland at 8,900. Look, we know St. Louis. You've been talking about it the whole episode, J Mark. Tony Meatball doesn't know anything about defense. Their defense is complete trash. McFarland, he still won't get the amount of carries you want, but he's going to score. I look for him to break a big one against this this caca pussy defense. So 8,900. I know it's expensive, but I still feel like he's one of the best players in the league. AJ Smith, maybe you try to get him the ball, please. Bet detective, what are you doing here?
Well, McFarland, I think he steps up, have a big bounce back game. I, of course, had him week 1 as well for the big winnings. And I knew when to drop him. I didn't like his matchup with week 2. I knew like those NFL guys, they do the 1 week, then they take a week off. They don't like to exert themselves over and over in this league, you know. I came down cheaper, so I wanted to get a hookup for my Luis Perez. I wanted to get in Arlington. I eyed a Jay Payton, who is a cheap $4,500, by the way, who had a big game last week, 5 for 83, and he had a big rush. I think he led the team in rushes for his one end around there for like 20 yards. But I'm going to go with an old faithful, and you see Perez did have a hookup with him, Sal Cannella, old Sal Manella. He's also cheap at 5,500. He had a great touchdown on that after that bullshit pass interference call. There's been a fun mic'd up moment where Perez yells, Sal, 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 Sal. That's what happens when I throw you the ball. Like that's just what happens. And I think it took them a while to get this connection. I think they did kindle up their connection. So I think they're only going to grow from here. And you get it on Sal Cannella now, who is the best tight end in the league, we thought, at least last year, and you get him cheap now at 5,500.
I almost rostered him. I like it. I like the play. J Mark, your top flex.
Yeah, I went with a different route there for the Renegades, and it's not a belief in Luis Perez. You guys know that. It's a fade of that terrible defender's defense. Tyler Vaughn's, he's gotten 7 targets each week. Last week was able to convert those into a couple more points, but 5 receptions, 58 yards. I think he keeps getting that 7 target share. And like we all said, DC can't stop anybody. So I'm going with Tyler Vaughn's, and he is 5,100.
Woo! I like it.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Sorry. My last flex.
Just random. I like random noise things. I don't know what Colby's doing back there. Yes, I do.
Just sipping that beautiful whiskey. You guys.
There we go.
That's for old fashioned.
There you go.
Yeah, coming up next, Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Myself, J Mark, his wife, talking about the NFL draft. And their silly ass kickoff will be brought up. UFL kickoff way better.
It is.
Look, I know you like riding CJ Marable. I'm going to Ricky Pearson Jr. It's a little filthy play because he is a pussy pack guy, former NC State kid. But 6,100, he's their goal line guy. He's the guy. I think he's going to be stealing touchdowns. Brad Baxter like. He's going to be stealing touchdowns left and right. Derek Fenner like. 6,100. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Remember, he had like 16 touchdowns one year.
Like 14 touchdowns.
It's like Chris Warren ran for like 1,500 yards. He had 2 scores.
Yeah, Fenner had 300 yards.
Yeah,
14 touchdowns. Yeah, all
right. At 6,100 though, I think Ricky Pearson Jr. is underpriced. I think there's value. I think he's a stud. And I told you, I'm on the over in this Memphis Birmingham. I like to follow my trends on the overs.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're in cahoots here. CJ, what are you doing here on your second flex?
Yeah, you can come after my Marable. I don't know. Whatever. If I was looking at a cheap running back, I would look at Higgins for DC at 5,300, by the way. He is their feature back right there. But I don't trust a DC rushing attack anyway. That line is a little questionable. But I will go with the DC passing attack. And Kuti is a Kuti, whatever you want to do it. He had 9 targets last week, even though he only had 3 for 40. Another high volume situation.
I'm sorry, you're making me laugh.
Dan Marino and his really dynamic wife.
I mean, at this point, I do the names just for you guys, just for left. But give me Kuti 7,600. Not expensive, but I could afford them with the flex with the other cheap prices. Like I said, highest. I want all points of this DC Arlington game. Highest total on the board. I think there's gonna be a lot of points. It will be over 50 points scored in this game. It'll be a back and forth affair. Both teams are going to move the ball up and down. So give me any parts of this. So Kuti 9 targets, They had to replace all the receivers from last year. Yeah, absolutely.
Channing Brown says, where do you guys play this? He can't get DraftKings in Canada. Well, that's why Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code TCE SGPN. You can pretty much find, I think, even better stuff over there. So
yeah, it will be on Underdogs by Friday, probably. It's not up there right now, but Underdog will have these lineups in there.
Yeah. So get on over, check it out tomorrow. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. J Mark, where you at in your final flex?
Yeah, I followed exactly what you were saying there with Ricky Person Jr. I wanted part of this Stallions running game, but I could not afford Marable. And he's got the same amount of touchdowns as Marable. I know he doesn't get as many carries, but he still gets involved, and they throw the ball to him now and then. I think it's really good value at 6,100.
He's a wise guy over here. He knows what he's doing.
I take these as personal attacks from both of you by coming after my Marable by rostering.
He's following Dundee. Channing says he can't get Underdog. Yes, you can. There's a thing called a VPN. VPN. All right. There's always a way. All right. But yes, get a VPN.
Yep.
They'll think you're in fucking Dearborn, Michigan or something. You know what I mean? They'll have no idea. And here you are playing the beautiful game that is Underdog Fantasy. So check that out. And defense, when it comes to defense, I'm going to stay by Dearborn, Michigan, because the Michigan Panthers. That always confuses me. At 4K, Reed Sinnott. I know he's from Iowa. He's been to that McDonald's J Mark always speaks about. They're going to fuck them up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the play. I think we all smashed this. If I had to guess, I think we all played Michigan's defense here at 4K. CJ, what'd you do?
I did play him at 4K. I played him last week against the best team in the league. They played a good defensive regular game, but not fantasy wise. They only got a couple, 3 points, even though they did get a turnover. But I don't care. I'm going right back. They're the best defense in the league, I think. And give him a 4K. Why not? Against a horrible offense. Let's do it.
Right there with you guys.
Oh, triple. I got music for that. Yes. I got music for that. We can do that. Triple lock on the Panthers defense. Oh, the 80s.
Perfect.
All right, that's our show, folks.
Yeah.
Let's watch these ball games. Mr. Reddit, I'm coming for you. All right. Hop on over to youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, folks. What are you doing? All right. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, check it out. Also, the UFL Gambling Podcast is on Twitter at UFL Gambling Pod as well. Give us a follow there. Get on over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. All that good shit. Get on over there and do it all. All right. Spotify, whatever. You can listen to it wherever.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Old Fashioned Football might have to be postponed because wife's work. Just subscribe to it so you know when we go live.
Oh, so no show tonight, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Look, it's like it's like a spring football league. You can never count on a team returning the next year. All right. But it's okay. We're going to make it work. So subscribe to the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. I got the night off now, so I can go watch Frozen 4, you know?
Nice.
Actually, I got a college baseball episode. We're doing at 8:00 Pacific time. So hop on over and check that out. Me and Noah Beanick. Subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. The road to Omaha, is happening right now. We're figuring out who's the best. So hop on over there. And what the fuck was I doing again? Oh yeah, we're all on social media. J Mark is on Twitter at JMarkFootball. Give him a follow. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. CJ Sullivan, the Bet Detective, is on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _ Check out the Bottom Line Bombs Podcast. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Check out the College Football Experience, the College Basketball Experience, the CFL Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast. Let's go. Until next time, folks, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.